In this video, I want to talk about using a derivative rule for the square root of a function u. Okay, so if you look in the front cover of your calculus book, you've got a lot of those derivative rules and integral rules, and this is one that's often left out, but I think it's still useful. So we have the derivative of the square root of a function u is going to be u prime over twice that same square root of u function. So you'll notice the square root of u shows up in the denominator along with a 2, and then we have u prime in the numerator. Okay, so let's go ahead and see this in action, and I'll compare it with using the chain rule. So let's say we have a function f of x, and it's going to be the square root of 5x minus 3. So using the chain rule, we would first have to change this to 5x minus 3 to the power of 1/2. And then our derivative would become, well, we bring the 1/2 out front. Our inside stays the same here. Take 1 from the power, and then multiply by the derivative of the inside, so 5. And then we've got some cleanup work to do. We would say, well, 5/2, if you want to say that. And then that square root, which is a negative now, is actually in the denominator. So 5x minus 3, which we could say 5 over 2 times the square root of 5x minus 3. So this would be the derivative, just using our standard approach with our chain rule of changing the square root to a rational exponent. So let's go ahead and move over here and look at it this way instead. Okay, so we're saying we have a function with a square root of 5x minus 3, and this derivative rule is the square root of a function u. So we're saying u equals 5x minus 3. Okay, so the derivative then is u prime over 2 times that square root. So u prime, so the derivative here is just 5 over 2 times, and then that original square root function. Okay, so here we did it in a single step as opposed to having to do all this work. So anyway, there's just one quick little example, but I think this square root of your function derivative rule is still handy. Probably should memorize that and keep that in the back pocket with the rest of those derivative rules that you memorize.